Good evening, and welcome to A Father's Note. I am your host for this evening. My name is Sharella Nelson. I am the better half to Mr. Lionel Nelson, just as he is my better half. And when we come together in unity, we are better together. Tonight, we have a great show for you. First of all, we would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out and spend just a little bit of your evening with us. And I am going to introduce to you my co hosts. First, we have Mrs. Katya Fillmore. We have Mrs. Dominique.
Hi everyone. What's going on, ladies? I'm so excited tonight to see all of you guys. My name is Katya Fillmore. I am the wife of Kenneth Fillmore, and we are so excited to have you guys on tonight.
And we have Mrs. Dominique Dumerville.
Hello, everybody on a father's note. My name is Dominique Dumerville, wife of Tony Dumerville, mother to Angelica, Christine, and DJ Dumerville. And tonight we are so excited for you because all we want to do is serve.
Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Awesome. I just wanted to give a little bit of background about us. All of us are entrepreneurs, all business owners. Mrs. Katya Fillmore, she is the owner of Mahogany Jewels. She has a hair studio where she creates beautiful crowns. Our hair is our glory. So she loves working with hair, creating styles. And we also have Mrs. Dumerville. Not only is she an educator, but she is a two-time author. I have a copy of her first book here, and it's entitled The ABC of Healthy Relationship. And her second like, book is about to be hot off the press. That's it right there, just between us girls. And we may be taking a little bit of the content from that book and discussing it on tonight. We also would like you another resource, and that was created and written by my mother in love. This is Rosa Nelson. It's available on Amazon, and it's entitled "A Diary of a Virtuous Wife." It's a story about infidelity as well as forgiveness. So, all of those resources, if you want to get a copy of any of those, just let us know and we'll be able to get that out to you. So, this evening, ladies, we are going to be discussing what wise women want. And our purpose for this evening is we just want to help the men understand women a little bit better. Just a little bit. They think they know us, but we're going to help them out a little bit tonight. We're also going to help the women to discover some things that they didn't know about themselves. You know, we want them to know the influence that they carry and that they, can use in their relationship. And we hope by sharing these nuggets of wisdom and experience and truth that it will empower you and ignite your relationship, take it another level higher. Is that all right?
That's
So
all
tonight's
right.
broadcast, the ladies and I, in our own words, we will answer that age-old question and that men have been asking. Listen, not for days, not for weeks or months. They have been asking this question for centuries. Ladies, what do you want?
Mhm.
So that's why we entitled this episode What Wise Women Want. Now, gentlemen, you will not want to miss this episode. You don't want to miss this show. Why? Listen, please do me a favor. Call up, text, sisters, cousins, your brothers, neighbors, co-workers, friends. Call them up. Send out a text. Tell them to pull up. Come on now, tell them to pull up.
Pull up.
This conversation, it's gonna be fire. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Fire. That's what the young people say. Fire. So, ladies that are watching tonight, the ladies that have joined us, listen, this is going to be an interactive section. You want to share, invite others to come along and join us on Facebook Live. Um, oh, I think I lost my. Okay, I'm sorry. Join us on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. That's a Father's Note with Lionel Nelson.
Mhm.
Okay, join us. This is going to be fun. It's going to be educational. I mean, we're just going to have a great time on tonight, okay? So, ladies, get your pens, your papers, your tablets, whatever writing instruments that you have, get those out, get them available. You're going to take notes. We're going to stop and jot, okay? We're going to talk about it. We're going to write it down. We're going to use some wisdom. We're going to reflect back, and you will need wisdom. All you got to
Mhm.
do is ask Him for it, and He will give it to you liberally. He has a never ending supply. Okay. So without any further ado, let's get started. Now, in preparation for tonight's show, we had a few mastermind meetings. When you say ladies, we put our list together. And before we release our list, we want to hear from you.
Mhm.
We want to hear from you. So please type in the chat what you think wise women want. And please be generic, be specific, be real, because we
Mhm.
are trying to help as many people as we possibly can. And gentlemen, you're invited as well to respond. All answers are accepted. And by the end of this broadcast, we will compare the responses given versus our top 10. Now, we're not going to go through all 10 tonight for the sake of time. We'll probably just cover the first five. And
Mhm.
then Mr. Nelson here, he invited us to come back next month and we'll continue with the other five. Is that all right?
Yes.
That's all right. So,
Mhm.
audience, this is what we're going to do. We are giving you 2 minutes, mhm, two, 2 minutes to write down your answers, and we're going to be ready to go in a few more minutes. Okay. So, while you are writing down your answers, Mrs. K, she's going to get it started and she's going to talk about one that's near and dear to her, one of the responses. And that's about, well, I'm going to let her talk.
Hey, y'all. All right, so let's get into it. Are y'all excited? Because I'm so excited. Listen, before I get into it, though, like, share,
Mhm.
comment, okay? Join Minister Nelson on A Father's Note. And listen, send it to whoever you guys would like to impact and help. Because if we're not helping each other, we're really not doing anything. So we want to help you so that you can help someone else.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So the first one for me is um, women want to be loved and to be present and want a man to love them. And we want you to be present,
Mhm.
right?
I like that. I
Because you
like
can, exactly, you can be there, but you're not present. What do I mean by being present? Okay, so the definition of presence is the state or fact of existing or occurring. You're there, you exist, we all exist, and it's occurring every day, but you're not available.
Mhm.
We want a man that is emotionally available, mentally available. No, you can't do it all day, every day, because it will become very, very exhausting. But we need you to be present in the times that matters. We need you to
Mhm.
be present at home. We need you to be present during conversations. And in being present is you being open, is you being vulnerable, It's you allowing your spouse, your wife, to hear you, and her allowing you to hear her. You guys both coming together and hearing and listening to each other without judgment. Even though, let's be real, ladies, spouse can get on your nerves, right? You
Come
can
on.
get on their nerves. Come on, let's talk about it,
Yes.
right? We can frustrate each other, but in the moments of frustration, are you really hearing
Mhm.
what your spouse is trying to say to you? So being present is a culmination of all of those things. We need you to be present. When you're present, you also put aside your agenda for your partner.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
You know,
See a lot of comments coming in.
amen.
Miss Dominique, you have
Miss
something you want
Dominique, I like that.
As you were speaking, all I could hear is for a man to be present when there's conflict.
Mhm.
Because if ego gets in the way, then you don't hear anything. So that's
That's
why
it.
being present, there must be a focus. And
That's it.
and if you're not focused on not just what's happening, but on your partner.
Hmm.
Once you know your partner is truly your partner, that is your mate, your spouse, your rib, your significant other, you already know framework. That person's not there to hurt you, but they're there to help you.
That's it.
So once you have that mindset to be present, sometimes, ladies, I could flip it on the other side.
Yes.
Men need us to be just as present.
Present.
to
Hmm.
We can't let those emotions go so wild that we're not in the moment so we can hear and process what's going on so that we as a unit can fix it.
That's it.
I like that.
And I like the present during conflict and present when it's difficult to focus. Those are the moments when it really matters the most to us, men. It
Mhm.
matters most to us when we're having an argument, when we're having a discussion, when we're coming to the table with finances. The reason why we're coming and we're sitting with you and discussing it is because we want the best for the family as a whole, for us
Exactly.
as a unit. So it goes beyond just our personal feelings in that moment. We have to both get past those same moments in order to genuinely say, okay, I hear you. I
Mhm.
may not necessarily be in your shoe, but I hear you and I can empathize. When you can hear that person and empathize, ladies, for us, because sometimes we're distracted, Facebook phones, just like Miss Dominique said, or if it's a few moments that we get to ourselves, we may not want to necessarily give those moments up.
Mhm.
But that's when you have to say, my husband or my spouse is more important than what I'm feeling I'm doing at that moment in order to be present myself for that person. Presence matters.
It
It
does.
does.
And it
It really does.
changes. It
And
changes the nature and the course
Mhm.
and the overall attitude and spirit of your relationship when you're present. It means you're starting to pay attention. You
Mhm.
pay attention to detail. You pay attention to the small things.
mhm,
And you're actually putting in effort. And ladies, we have to be very careful to pay attention when they're putting in those small efforts.
That's good. That's
mhm,
good. I like that. I like what you said about being present in conflict. And that
Hmm.
was one that rung, that grabbed me because there were times when we would have an issue or a situation,
mhm,
and I don't like conflict. I don't like to deal with it. And I was one of those that would, run and hide or don't want to discuss it at this particular time, want to push it over to the side. But no, sometimes you have to. Now there are times when you do need to, step aside, take a
Hmm.
step back and, think things through.
Woosah.
Yes. Yeah, one of those woosah moments. But then
Hmm.
there are other times, especially if it's something major, you gotta grab that thing, grab that bull by the horns, like they say, and you gotta deal with it. You can't
Hmm.
run and hide. So that was good. That was very good.
Can I
and
caveat
that's
on that
what
just a little?
wise women do.
Want.
Yeah,
That's what we do.
wise women do. They deal with it, take it head on.
Yes, we do. We have to deal with it. And I was a lot like that, Miss Aurelia, where I wouldn't really speak when there was an issue. I didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to
Mhm.
face it. And eventually, what not dealing with those situations does is it causes you to resent your spouse. But more
That's
than anything, it causes you as the woman, or the person, the man dealing with this issue where you don't want to deal with the issue, it causes you to become so frustrated within yourself,
right.
and it
That's
spills
good.
over into the relationship and other areas that had absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in that area.
Exactly. So I'm seeing some comments here from our audience. I
Okay.
see protector, provider, God fearing, being dependable and adventurous. That's good. Like Apostle say, don't no woman want no boring man, no boring husband. Come on, let's go, let's get it. You might be one of those that like to, sit on the couch. And there's a time and a place for that. But then there's also a time you need to get out and see things. This is a big world we live in. Come on, ladies, we want to get out. We want to do things. We want to experience life. So, gentlemen, listen, strap them boots on and let's get it. Okay.
Don't forget they got to get those boots shined up.
Oh yeah. Listen, we Mr. Nelson here. Okay, he keep it real. He keep it 100. That grooming, he on point with that. Shine those shoes.
And
Listen,
make sure you smell it real good.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's my department. I keep him covered in that area.
That's it.
Covered. Okay, ladies, we gotta know. We gotta know our place, right? We gotta know
Mhm.
our place. Okay,
That's
we're
it.
gonna move on. Oh, all right. How about I'm gonna talk about my number one,
Okay.
and this one was my number one. I put them in order. Okay, and that's something we want you all to do. Put them in order. Those that responded in the chat, put your comments in order. Which one first? That's your most. That's listen. This was
Most
my
important.
number one. That was a deal breaker. Okay, it was a must.
Mm-hmm.
So from 1 to 5, we're just gonna deal with 5 tonight because of the sake of time. Okay, but my number one was this. Drum roll. Drum roll, please. You have that on the soundboard. Okay, so I wanted a man that loves and honored God. That was my number one. That was so vitally important to me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I look at it this way, I couldn't be his all in all, although I may try. I couldn't move mountains for him, although I may try. But I know who could, and that's God. That's God. And he had to have a relationship with our Heavenly Father. That was so important to me. God made him the head. He placed him the head. That means he's in charge of the home. He's in charge of laying down the rules. He's in charge. Listen, when something come up, who needs to handle this? Who need to deal with it? Now we're gonna do it because we are one. We're gonna deal with it collectively. However, he's first in charge. He's first in command. So I need him to know that. And I need to know that he knew that. So that was, hey, that was a deal breaker for me. You got to have God in your life. Listen, I've dated in the past. I've dated all kinds. I dated the professionals. I dated the roughnecks. I dated, all that. No, mm-mm. God will give you exactly what you need. All you got to do is tell him. I made a list over 17 years ago. I tried to find it. It was in my old Bible. I tried to find it, but I didn't locate it. But that was my number one on that list. And I wanted to make sure that he loved God, therefore he would know how to love me. And I had children, I had daughters, and I wanted to make sure that he loved my daughters as well. Because hey, they are part of the package. They are part of the package. So that's important. That was important to me.
Yes.
Look, I see one Mrs. Jones here. She says be her best friend. That was important to her. You got to be a best friend. And that's true. And listen, now that we're empty nesters, I know about that. He is my best friend. See, we had a lot going on, with 8 children. six in the home at one particular time. At one time, we had six. We had different schools. We were, listen, I didn't know him as my best friend. I knew he was my husband, but I didn't know him as my best friend. But now that everybody's gone, he is my best friend. Come on now. Miss Jones says, if he truly loves God, he'll love his family dearly. It'll reflect God. That's good. That's good. Miss Dominique, you want to chime in?
I I I have to say that was not my number one, but it was my number two.
Okay.
And it's true. As they honor God, if they have that heart after God, I guess mine was I wanted mine to have a heart after God.
Mhm.
Because if he had God's heart, then he would have I thought he would have God's mind, and he would do the things that God would be pleasing unto God.
Mhm.
And don't know if this is the appropriate time to share, but you know what? When I was coming up, that was the only criteria.
Right.
And now, in hindsight, 2020, I've been married 29 years. I should have added a little bit more to that list. But
I believe all of us could say that, Miss Fillmore. I believe all of us could.
Yes, ma'am.
but when we were coming up and in the culture in which we grew up, that was paramount. We had to have that heart after God. But I'm hearing what you're saying, and a man who comes into his full maturity as God raises him up and really grows him up and matures him, then he'll have the insight to know how to love his woman appropriately. He'll
Oh,
have
that's
the
good.
insight on how to minister to her needs. And
Mhm.
I'm talking about all her needs. I'm
Come
not talking about just a few. I'm not
That's it.
talking about the bank book, or I'm not just talking about, date night once in a while. I'm talking about all of it.
That's
Because any man who steps up with wise women, he gotta be all that and a bag of chips.
okay. With a cupcake on the side.
Say that.
And some flowers.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, we're moving forward. What about I saw Ken Fillmore. He said, "Oh, this is Fillmore's husband,
Hey, sugar.
protector and provider." You want to respond on that?
I do absolutely. Being a protector for me, I remember we had this running joke for years. Um, our first counseling session when we first got married, y'all, I was horrible. I just want y'all to know. And they said, "Well, how could she not know I love her when I sleep in the front of the bed and the front?" So I'm like, "Sir, what? I don't understand." Anyways, what he was stating was, "I'm willing to die for my wife. I'm willing, if somebody comes in here, they have to get through me in order to get to her."
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something, there is nothing like that kind of protection from your man.
Mm-hmm.
That changes your heart. Even if you're angry or you're upset with him, that changes the tenure of how you are feeling, you know. And then he added to it, he said, um, just me loving you isn't enough. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be able to be in that protector role. It's
Right.
not just a place, it's a role. And we love that. We need that because it frees us to really be like, it's okay. And then when he started being able to pray for me, that took us to a whole different level,
Yeah.
where now you're spiritually protecting me, not just physically protecting me. Oh my God, let me tell you something. Men, if you want to see a change in your wife,
Hmm.
we don't need a shandarabasanda. We need God cover her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, the place that you are in that moment for your spouse, for your wife, be able to just pray for her. You may not be able to pray the way she prays.
And that's okay.
It is. But we
Yes.
need that simple. I don't care if it's 10 words.
Hmm.
We need that from you. That takes us out of a realm of pain and hurt. And so many of us as Black women have not been protected.
Hmm.
You know,
It's true.
we haven't been protected.
And
So
that's
many
why a lot
people
of them don't know what that looks like. They,
exactly.
they
And
don't
so
know
many
what
of
that
us
looks
didn't
like.
have fathers in the home. So
Yeah.
if we don't have fathers in the home, so now we get married and we feel like we're still unprotected.
Hmm.
It opens a wound spiritually that only you as a husband can feel. Nobody else can feel that wound and cause that healing to come about until you can really just pray for your wife. And again, we don't need you to pray like us. We want you to pray the way you pray, however simple that may be. And that's all. So that's my piece.
Can
Listen.
I add to that?
Yes.
I was on a mission trip with Mr. Dumerville some years back, and we were on the road and we were in a pickup truck. The pickup truck had some difficulty. And if you know anything about the major roads in Haiti, there's route number one and route number two.
Mm-hmm.
And we were stuck on route number two. The pickup truck stopped. There was a truck coming in front. There was a truck coming from behind.
Mm-hmm.
For all intensive purposes, I should not be here today.
Wow.
When the, I don't know how, but when he saw that death was imminent, he
Hmm.
took off his seatbelt. He climbed up above to protect me from the impact. We had been married probably about, I want to say 15 years.
Hmm.
It was in that moment when, again, death was imminent that I realized that this man was sent by God for me.
That's beautiful.
I say that because every time I recount the story, it was the hand of God that protected us and shielded us. I had a bump in my head and a crick. He had something in his leg, a limp in his leg.
Oh God.
The pickup truck was totaled.
My
How
God.
we even got out?
My
Wow.
God.
Ladies, I'm here to tell you, if he doesn't have that kind of heart to cover you, to protect you,
Hmm.
it's not God. Because love equals sacrifice.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Men, take these notes. We're not just saying this to say it. This is our expectation, and God put it in your DNA to
That's
be
it.
the provider, to be the protector
Yes, he
of
did.
your family.
Yes.
So
That's
stand
exactly.
up, take your place, and know, women, be humble enough to submit and accept it because
That's it.
that's their role. We have to be in our role too.
e-
That's it.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I was gonna respond on the protection part. Now this happened, and I have quite a few stories about him and him protecting me. But this happened before we got married. And he asked me to meet with him at a restaurant, and we were going to have a discussion, some business and some other things, in which I had no clue. But we had our discussion and we were getting ready to leave, but before, I noticed that he kept looking around and looking around. And so I didn't pay any attention to it, so we walked to the car. And we walked to the car. Two guys, I don't know if he remembered this story, but two guys approached us, So the first thing he did was he put his arm up to push me to the side. And then he said to me, "Get in the car." So I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Get in the car." So I was obedient. I got in the car. And when I saw what was going on, the two guys was walking up on him, and he told him, he said, "Listen, don't walk up on me like that." He's like, "Stay right there." And they was like, "Oh, we just want," he said, "Don't walk up on me." And I got nervous then. I saw what was going on. So I took my phone out and I had 911 on the speed dial. And so they exchanged some words. And he said, "Bro," he said, "you don't want none of this." He told him, he said, "You don't want none of this." And he was like, "Oh, it's not even like that." He said, "Back up off me." And at that particular time, they backed up and they walked off. And so I hung up the phone and I was like, "What was that?" But I saw immediately that that protection, he was a protector. And I don't know, I was just like, "Oh my God." Like, he saw, I guess his level of discernment just picked all of that up. And when we got in that car, we had a little prayer, and I was like, "Okay." Like, I felt very good. I felt protected. And every time I'm with him, I always feel like that. He always protects my heart. I'm very passive. I let a lot of things slip by and slide by. But he sees something, he see injustice, he sees somebody trying to get over on his wife. He right there, Johnny on the spot. Like, okay. Like, "Babe, calm down." No, 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 no.
My
I got,
wife.
yes. You know that's not gonna happen with him. So I love that about him. I love it, love it. All right. What about provider?
Can I
Oh,
add one
Missy,
more
go
piece?
ahead.
I'm
Mhm.
sorry. Gentlemen, this is for you. Please don't use a woman's heart as a tool against her.
Oh, I like that.
It will not fare well for you. It will backfire miserably. This is a father's note. So I
Yes.
want to give you some insight. Also want, and you will lose her altogether. Because if there's this thing in military terms called friendly fire, where
Mhm.
you fire from within, not in a relationship.
Chip.
Friendly fire is not allowed. We
Mhm.
used to say, don't hit below the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
Because if you do those unfair tactics, then when you need that safe place, you'll be hesitant because you don't know what she's going to use that ammunition against you.
Oh,
And that's not the way love works. We don't do that. So we're sharing what wise women do. So what wise women want. And I know it's going with women and men, but we want you all, ladies and gentlemen, to have both sides of the coin. Because if you're going to be a protector, protect all of her. Protect her
that's it.
spirit,
That's it.
protect her mind, protect her body, protect her emotions, protect her from her sometimes. And gentlemen,
I
you got to
love
give her that
that.
space to do just that. Because if you don't give her the space to do that, then you hinder her. So it's a walk, just like men and women when they're dancing. You know, when you slow dancing, you
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying. There's
Mhm.
a rhythm and a flow. Well, it's the same thing. You learn each other. You learn the rhythm and the flow of her
Come on.
and him. And when you get that rhythm and flow just right, you make beautiful music together.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I know about that.
That's true. I wanted to go back to the protecting the heart a little bit.
Okay.
Um, Ladies, if he's trying to protect your heart, right? What we don't want you to do is to put the walls up.
Mhm.
Let him protect you. Let him be who he's supposed to be. Don't get
Yes.
in the way and "I got this." No, you don't got nothing, right?
Alright.
You guys want me to be specific? You have
Be
nothing.
specific.
That's his job. He cannot fully be the man that he's supposed to be if you're busy trying to be the man for him.
Mhm. Come on. Come on.
No man wants another man unless he's gay.
Well, what's that? Come on. Ladies, we have
Go
to know
ahead on,
our
sis,
place.
and just be a woman.
We have to know our place. That is so important. I had to
Mhm.
learn that because, like I said, he is a protector. It's in him. He's wired that way. It's a
Mhm.
part of his DNA. And I
Mhm.
didn't know how to accept that in the beginning. So it took a while for me to learn how to shrink back so he can do what God has called him to do.
And to add to that too, um, for the woman who says no, like they don't want that piece. They'll take the other pieces, but they don't want that piece. That probably comes from a place of fear and being
Yes.
controlled. And because
Yes.
of that, they don't, and women don't want to be manipulated in any kind of way. So
Exactly.
that's why you need the wisdom of God to know how
Yes.
to minister that protection, that
Yes.
covering for your spouse.
Yes.
Come on. Miss
Because
Erica,
if
Mrs.
you,
Erica Menard says, I had to learn that in
Erica, honey, you are not the only
premarital
one. We had to
counseling.
learn it.
Mhm.
We
One
had
of the
to.
toughest lessons, and that is so true.
Mhm.
And if you are afraid of someone controlling you, the first thing is to really take a step back and start going back in your life to figure out where that fear of control started. Did you see your mother being controlled? Did you see your aunts being controlled? Did you allow someone to control you when you were growing up and you didn't have a voice? And now you feel like, okay, I'm married, I'm not going to allow you to control me.
Mhm.
So if you get into that place, you have to really figure out, is he trying to control me or is he trying to protect me?
Right.
There's a huge difference,
Right there.
right?
Mhm.
If it's protection, it's going to look like love, right?
Mhm.
It's going to allow you to still be you. If it's control, you're told what to do, when to do it, what to wear. I don't like your hair like that. Don't do that. Don't wear this. Don't wear that. You know, that's control. I don't want you to talk to her. I don't want you hanging out with her.
Mhm.
Protection is babe. I think you may need to pray, about being friends with this person and see how God leads you.
Right
That's
You
good.
know, that's the difference. Honey, I think. But I don't know, you figure it out, but this is my opinion or my advice. And then he allows you to make your judgment call. That's protection. That's him trying to say, okay, now take a step back. Look at this. I'm watching out for you because I already see it
Mhm.
because you don't see it. But
Right.
control tells you when, where, who, what, and why, and don't do it.
Yes.
there. Yep.
Let's see, Mrs. Jones says our value comes alive when we stand in our roles. That's very good.
Yes. I love that.
That's very good. It was a comment we missed by Mr. Fillmore when he was talking about counseling. Did we find it? Yes, right there. He said, please let the people know that there is nothing wrong with going to counseling because there is safety and wise counsel. Now that's a applause right there too. That might even been a mic drop. I don't know why a lot of us stray away from counseling, but the key word he said, wise
Wise.
counseling. Okay. So we have to be careful of who we are talking to, who are we communicating with, who's doing the counseling. You don't want just any old body.
Honey.
Their values have to they have to align with your values, unless then otherwise you have more confusion. And that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for clarity
Yes.
and connections.
And that's the truth
Exactly.
because wise counsel gives you clarity. It does not bring confusion. It
That's right.
does not bring anger. It does not bring bitterness. It does
Come
not bring
on.
hatred.
Come
It
on.
brings a release of all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you guys from experience, my husband and I would still not be married. We would not be married today if it was not for wise counseling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Come on. Listen, that is so vitally important, ladies. If you are in the process of being married, you're engaged, seek wise counsel before. And if you're already married, you have issues that needs to be addressed, seek wise counsel. Okay, it's so important.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, part time. Okay, what about provider?
Mm. Can I
Provider.
start on this one?
Go ahead.
You got it.
Um, the nails, the hair, all that is wonderful. Our appearance, if the king wants to make sure his queen is tight, that's all right.
That's all right.
But you know what? There are other things too,
It goes a little
and
deeper.
to be provided for. And we have an expectation that men are going to take care of this, our heart.
Mhm.
It goes along with the protection, but I had an experience, and this is one of those non-experiences. Somebody came into my home
Mm.
and they started tearing down me, and they started tearing. My husband wasn't home. They started tearing me down and my house down and my children down. And they were a relative of
Oh,
my spouse.
oh wow.
And as they were talking, it was getting more wicked and more wicked. And my mother happened to be staying with us at the time. My mom, my mom heard, and then she just went straight to the backyard. I was like, oh no, I didn't know what she was gonna get in the backyard. But I had to tell this lady to get out. I had just had surgery and I was supposed to be on bed rest.
Mhm.
I threw that woman out my house and told her, don't you ever come back to my house. Ladies, I expect my husband to do that. But since he wasn't there, it was my job
Mm-hmm.
to make
Yes.
sure I get that out my house.
Yes, and that's going back to knowing our roles.
Listen, uh, I say that because we are very strong. If and sometimes we could be even too strong.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why God gave us that spouse, because we needed to be tempered to some degree.
Yes.
Point one. Point two, a wise man said, you can buy a woman a house, but you can't, it takes her loving touches to make it a home.
Come on.
Give her freedom to make your dwelling place a home.
A home. Hmm.
Gentlemen, pay attention. That means to make it soothing, to make it a place where you can rest, where you can play, where you can have sex,
Peaceful.
where you can make love, where you can
On.
that talk, where you can just dream, where you can watch TV, where you can giggle like little kids. It's okay. You can do that, but give her something to work with.
Mm.
That's it. That is it. We need to be able to just be ourselves in our home, right? We need to be able to be the woman of the house. So now I'm gonna give you a little tidbit. I'm gonna go off on this a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Men, you cannot have more than one woman running your household.
Uh-oh. Come on.
So that includes your mother, and say your mama,
Uh-oh.
your mama,
Your mother.
and your mother.
Mhm.
That includes your aunties or your sisters. I'm going to take you a little further.
Your
That includes your
daughters.
daughters.
Come on.
I know it hurts. Now I'm going to turn it around on us, ladies. I'm going to explain in a second. Your sons are not the man of your house.
Say that.
Hmm.
I call him the son. He is not your husband, right? You listening? He's not your husband. You cannot have other people, other men, your brothers, okay, running your household. He's the man of the house.
That's
He
it.
has to be able to be the man of his house, the king of his castle. I have never seen two kings running a castle or
Mm-mm,
a kingdom.
mm-mm.
Each king has his own kingdom,
Exactly.
right?
Mm,
Mhm.
And there's always one queen. So the only way for us to be able to do those things is to be real with ourselves and to set boundaries where
Mhm.
no one else can come in and divide the protection
Mhm.
that is set. You have to be able to submit to the protection
Yeah.
mhm,
of the husband. He wants to be able to protect. We want to be able to be the woman in our households.
Mhm.
We don't want to have to, there's no competition between a mother, a daughter, and a mother in law.
Mhm.
There's always room for a relationship, but we have to keep those things where they belong.
Yep.
Make sure that you respect his mother. Okay? Yes, conflict will arise. Let me say it again. Because some of us we get a little rowdy and we want to tell his mama A, B, C, D. Don't
mm,
do that.
mm.
Wise women don't do that.
Uh-uh.
Why? There you go, Miss Dominique. Wise women don't do that. Okay? Even in your hurt, even if she says something,
Mhm.
right? Remember that is the woman that carried him,
Mhm,
that gave birth to him
Mhm.
for you, that struggled with him, right? You're honoring her even if she dishonors you. This is what wise women do. In that way, he's going to see God in you
Mhm.
and he's going to know that you are really his queen. And he's not going to allow her to disrespect you. He's going to stand up for you. This is how you know when a man loves you. He's going to stand up to his mother with respect.
mhm.
Always.
Okay.
Okay. All
So,
right. I love that. I love that. I am fortunate and blessed that I've never had the mother in love issue. Um, Mother Nelson, she's never ever tried to rule anything here. My mom, she's never tried to rule anything here. We've never had an issue with as far as him being the provider. There was a time when we had hit a rough patch, but
mhm,
he was still head of this home. He was still the protector. He was still the provider. So we have to know our roles. Listen what Talisha Jones says. She said, set the atmosphere for the king.
I love
Yes.
It
that.
was
Yes.
always set no matter what.
That's
They
right.
knew who was the head of this home. She also says, give him a place to be creative and free and at peace. That last one right there, peace.
That's it.
That is so vitally important. My husband always said he already experienced chaos out there in the world at work.
Mhm.
When he come home, he want to come home to a home of peace.
Amen.
Everyone that enters this home, they always said, it's so peaceful here. That's my job. I set that atmosphere, an
Amen.
atmosphere of peace.
That's
So
it.
I love it. I love it.
And that's what wise
Wise
women
women
And
do.
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 Come on. Come
You know
on.
what, Miss Sharelia, really quickly, I wanted to
Yes,
touch
go
back
ahead.
on the man being the protector. And ladies, if he's in a season where he's struggling,
Uh-huh.
okay, to be able to provide either the way he used to, or he's in the middle of looking for a job, or he's gotten laid off or fired. Listen, it is still our jobs to make sure that he still feels like the man. He still feels like the king of the castle. Don't overlook him. Don't disrespect him because he's now having a season where he's struggling.
But
He's
that's where
still
we
the
come in.
provider.
Again, going back to the roles.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we still have to be able to do that.
Miss D want to chime in?
And watch your tongue. Watch the words you say because wise women know how to use their words effectively to lift up, to
Yes.
raise, to
Mhm.
edify, and to build up.
Bill.
So,
That's it.
listen, we're not talking about that crazy stuff in the newspaper on them soap operas, that trash. We are talking about what wise women do.
Come on.
It is imperative. Even the word said that life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yes.
So, ladies, if we can get that piece right, you will see a change in your man,
Yes. Come
and
on.
you'll see a change in your home, and you'll see a
Yes.
change in your family, but you'll see a change in you
That's
first.
it. That's it. It starts with you.
Yes. Yes.
Stop looking at the other person to change first. Let the
Mm,
change come through in you. Allow God to do the work in you. Let God work on that person,
mhm.
Hmm.
right? Because men need affirmation.
Yes.
They need it, right?
Yes.
They need affirmation, they need honor, they need respect.
Hmm.
You
We're
know
not
that.
talking about.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, Miss
I
Dominique.
said, you know why the guys they always wanted to go with the cheerleader. Why did they always want to go with the cheerleader? Because the cheerleader had the pom poms, and she was
And
always
they were
going to say,
cheering them on.
"That's it."
Always cheering them
So,
on.
so listen, ladies, you want to turn your man on? You want him to get a revelation? Be his cheerleader.
Put a
That's it.
cheerleader suit
When
on.
he takes out the garbage, babe, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, babe, you look so good. Oh, look at you. Thank I'm telling you, it works.
It does.
Ladies,
It works.
it works.
It
It
works.
works.
I
I
have
have
my
seen
handsome hunk, and he know that's my sexy chocolate. Okay, let me get back on track. Come on, get back on track. So
honey and
I
my
did a
black
little
caramel.
poll with some of the young ladies that I mentor, and just take a listen to, and maybe we have a moment to comment. We only have about 7 minutes left, y'all. So these are some of the things that they said they want. Commitment, that's a big one
Mhm.
because they have lack. I don't know what's going on with the gentleman. That might be something Mr. Nelson needs to talk about on another show. But they don't want to commit. Stability. What about consistency? Maturity. I believe Miss Dominique, you mentioned that one. Maturity. That's what they want. Understanding, reassurance, security. Come on. Love. All of them said love. All of them said effective communication, not
Mm.
just communication, but effective communication. And so I said, well, what does that look like? And they said they want to be them to be able to talk to them, communicate to them how they are feeling, communicate to them when something is not right instead of just running away. They want them to open up and express themselves. Okay. They all said protector, provider, someone that likes to have fun. I believe Miss Glasgow talked about them being adventurous and spontaneous.
Mhm.
Okay. Not boring, but have fun. They wanted a partner for life. They all said they wanted trust,
Mhm.
honesty. Come on. What y'all say? What you have to say about any of those? You have a comment? We got about 5 minutes left. Miss Katia, you have something you want to share on one of those?
You're on mute.
Okay, there we go. I'm looking at effective communication.
Hmm.
So with effective communication, it's I know from men there, a lot of men say, um, women are so hard to understand. We never know what you guys want. We don't understand um, what you're saying. So for me, what worked was asking God. We had gotten to a place where we just weren't communicating effectively. We couldn't get it together. So I was saying, God, how do I fix this? How do I get him to hear me? How do I hear him and what he's saying?
Mhm.
You know, and it started with God saying strategy. I heard the word strategy. From there, God told me, what does he like? God literally asked me a question, what does he like? And I said, well, he likes football.
Mhm.
So God said, use football strategies to get him to hear you. Effective communication. It may be a little bit outside of the norm, right?
Mhm.
But when you explain, when I what I did was I didn't really know much about football. I'm a basketball girl. Okay. And so from there, I just was like, okay, God, give it to me to where I can give it to him. And
Mhm.
I asked him about football terminology, and he told me. So he said he was the quarterback. He was running the ball down the 20-yard line. And I said, okay, great. And I said, well, who's on the left or on the right protecting you? You know, he said, there's someone protecting me on my blind side. And I said, well, honey, that's me. So if I'm
That's good.
protecting you on your blind side, I have to know what direction you're headed in, right?
Mhm.
So when I was able to break it down in terminologies where he understood, I began to see the change. We both began to see the change because we broke down the communication and it became effective.
That's
So
good.
that's
That's
what
good.
he likes.
Mhm.
That's really good. So that's it. We need to learn how to communicate with one another in order to be effective. And I don't think we have time for our last one, but I'll go ahead and mention it. And that is women want to be the man's first choice, their first choice.
Mhm.
Ms. D, that's yours. And we're going to sign off.
All right. Well, first choice, God is first. After God, I'm right there. I need to be right there.
Yes.
And I know they have to be a provider and protector. I know they have to provide, but you know what? I'm more important than that job.
Come on.
Simple. I'm more important than anything else you got going on. Because if I'm your rib, if I'm a part of you, if I'm your blind side, if I'm watching over you, then I got to know that our union is
Mm.
first.
Yes.
Because that is what's going to keep us, especially when it's hard.
That's it.
Especially when it's hard.
That's
And
it.
Ms. Kasia
Um,
said something about, when they're struggling, ladies, that's the time we have to push in even harder. Wise women watch, they pray, and they do. They stand in faith. Why? Because if God put you together, then God has a responsibility to hold you, and He will keep you if you want to be kept.
come on. Well, I would like to say I love what you just said. They watch, they pray, and what you said? They watch, they pray,
And they do.
and they do.
And
Well,
they
I
do.
like to say they watch, they pray, and they slay. That's what wise women do. Come on.
Love
Come
it.
on. When
Yes,
listen,
ma'am.
watch, pray, and slay. Okay?
That
Because
works.
he's protecting on this side, like Miss Katia said. Hey, I'm on the other side.
Right.
Let's go. So I hope, listen, audience, I hope we said something this evening
Mhm.
that helped you all, that was able to help you all. And we will be back next month. So you guys can put it in the chat if there was something that you really liked, something that resonated in your spirit. And if so, we will be sure to come back and address those things on next month. So this is a father's note signing off. What wise women really want. Amen. Have a great evening.
Lionel
Love
Nelson here, and welcome to A Father's Note. promoting fathers through building men.
It's so important that we always stand up for our fathers. We want you to know we're with you. We're standing behind you 110%.